Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Friday, November 17th, 2017. Really wonderful numerological date. In both the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and any other souls from any other dimensions who are already participating in the work to complete the assignments given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us, and who are already living by the Search for Truth rules given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. As always, our foundational intention is to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions, to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions and for all categories of sentience within those dimensions. Somebody's asking what we're noticing. It seems that what this higher presence way up high is asking us about, and thereby pointing the spotlight to, is the composition of souls in these Ground Zero host lives right now, and how that composition seems to have changed significantly since the team led by Pan broke into what was effectively the sea or lake, it's bigger than a lake, ocean maybe of light below, and that ocean of light below turned out to be star people who had been sent in long ago and who wanted to go back home, and that Pan's group did in fact open up a portal, and they were able to exit through here, and some of them exited through here, and some of them have stayed.
That's true.
Why do you ask? That's part of what they're getting at, but not the fullness of it. It's possible another part of what you're getting at is that there are also nature realms presences and other categories of presence, maybe machine zone souls also, those who had been following Pan in the effort to open up to light below. And while Pan seems to be taking a hiatus from the work since having that breakthrough, these presences can tell that it's not done, because meanwhile elephants are still being murdered, and that's just one example.
That's true.
Clearly the job isn't done. Quite clearly the job isn't done. There's no outward and visible sign of a breakthrough, and immediately somebody standing back here is arguing with that and saying it's extremely disruptive, and everybody in this dimension is very stressed out right now, and they're all attributing the stress to this situation in their own personal experience of sentience that seems most likely to be the cause of the stress.
Yes, that's true.
And very few people are saying, do you think there's a disturbance in the force caused by anarchy at the cellular level? Do you think there's a disturbance in the force caused by anarchy at the cellular level? That's very head-opening.
That's true.
That question goes way up. That's what we think it is. And somebody's asking why. Please look up. First off, look up. You see that person who's talking, that person there. It looks like it's one of those star people.
That's true.
I can't quite tell what they're saying, but it does seem to have to do with the consistency of the experience across sentiences, and how so many presences are extremely stressed, and the plants think they're stressed because it's a dry fall.
That's true.
And the humanoids think they're stressed because of various and sundry reasons.
That's true.
Something's happening at work, or something's happening at home,
Yeah.
or it clearly must be you're the problem.
Yeah.
And other animals, you can see them gnawing at their feet and doing other stress-related actions. Everybody is stressed right now, and somebody's asking how long has it been going on? 10 days, maybe?
Maybe 10 days?
Maybe 10 days. Why do you ask? And now they're looking at their own life, and I think it's not just in this dimension. I think they have felt the disruptions up there also.
That's
because
true.
they're saying, that would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad it explains a lot. What now, in order to manifest the divine plan, in other words, create worlds that work in all dimensions for all categories of sentience in those dimensions? We seem to have one of those discussion rooms upstairs again.
That's
a
true.
lot of conversation, and there are presences who have been given seats at the table who ordinarily would not be allowed to sit at the table.
That's true.
It's as if chimpanzees have been given legal rights in North American humanoid society, which they should have legal rights because they can communicate with us by sign language, and we certainly don't know how to speak their language.
That's true.
So if anything, they are demonstrating superior linguistic skills. And it's a little offensive to be referring to these presences as chimpanzees. Somebody says, not if you're a chimp. Okay, valid point.
That's a valid point.
They're nature realm souls and machine zone souls, and also some of these star people. They're star people souls. None of them are of the stature that they would normally be given a seat at the table of, quote, guides or, quote, guardian angels.
That's true.
Unquote. They wouldn't normally have that seat. But here in these host lives, the law of the land is that everybody stands on his or her own merits, regardless of size or gender, sexual orientation, or dimension of origin. And we've been tuning to that for long enough that it does seem to be holding true, at least within these presences.
That's
for
true.
the cells and atoms and molecules and subatomic particles. It does seem to be holding true. And so these presences are given, they must be given seats at the table, or we are in violation of the law of the land.
That's
this
true.
land. They said, what do you mean by that? This land, this host life. The pencil point is tapping right here on this point, right here, and the point I think that you're trying to get on the table is that therefore we should be listening to those people. They're saying no, therefore we should not be listening to those people. I disagree with you.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with you. That's a strange conclusion to draw. If everyone stands on his or her own merits, regardless of size, gender, sexual orientation, or dimension of origin, why would we not listen to them? I'm curious. I'm really curious. Please answer. I want to know. Maybe there's a reason. I could be wrong. Seems to me like they've earned their place at the table. These presences who've been working with Pan, they opened up to light below. These presences who were part of the light below are trying to stay and continue with the work.
That's true.
How have they not earned their seat? They are living by the rules of the Search for Truth community at least as much as anybody else is right
That's
now.
True.
And they're participating in the work to complete the assignments given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. Why wouldn't they have a seat at the table? And if they have a seat at the table, why should we not listen to them? I don't understand. Please help me understand. They're really wishing they had not begun this line of communication.
Yes.
They're looking at each other like they would very much like to send in somebody to remove those undesirables.
Yes.
Everyone stands on his or her own merits. Here, in this host life,
Right here.
right here, everyone stands on his or her own merits,
regardless
of size, gender, sexual orientation, or dimension of origin. And the only authorized souls, maybe this is what we bifurcate for, all of us who are already living by the Search for Truth rules given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us, to the Search for Truth central axis, all others flung away. Maybe we just pump up electrons and all who wish to go with them. The electrons are really good at getting it going. And I see areas of this interdimensional tunnel
Yes.
that are shut, and they seem to be shut for a variety of reasons. In answer to the question of what I notice about that, there seems to be a variety of situations. Sometimes it's the higher dimensions wanting to block the flow. They think of it as radon, maybe, or
That's true.
radiation, and they don't want the radiation coming through their dimension, which is understandable, but the dimensions are more tightly interwoven than we want to think, and when closely related dimensions are suffering and we block them out, we ourselves begin to suffer in like fashion extremely rapidly. And when somebody's asking why, maybe because the law of cause and effect is real.
That's true.
And that wiser minds above all of us can see that when we get high enough up, we all look like ants. It all looks the same. And it looks like bullying. What now? In order to stop the use of bullying in all dimensions, what now? This person who is speaking in the overnight and saying, here's your problem right here, and pointing to selfishness. What now? In order to break the cycles of selfishness in all dimensions, what now?
What it looks like is everyone in the higher dimensions is just running away from the question as it moves past them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're deciding that that question is the reason that they feel so stressed out.
That's it. That's what they're deciding. It's actually, we think it's that anarchy has come to a dimension that's really close to these dimensions. This wave of anarchy has been spreading up, and it's getting close, and it's very disruptive. That's what we think. And we can see it. They're asking for proof. Well, look at Jess, for example. You see him, right?
I don't think they're looking at him.
What now? In order to create deeper, denser dimension worlds that work for all categories of... No, this person who was speaking before is saying the real question is, what now in order to break the cycles of selfishness? All right. What now in order to break the cycles of selfishness in all dimensions for all categories of sentience? What now?
The question is going up and making tearing noises as it goes up.
I think that's good.
I think that's good.
What now in order to break the cycles of selfishness in all dimensions and for all categories of sentience?
Now it's just very quiet.
Is it quiet with that kind of like we've hit the white fuzz area?
Yes.
Bands of light and dark.
Yes.
All right. I don't know what the bands of light and dark are in answer to the question. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I don't know.
Why do you ask? I know they have to do with the death tunnel. When people die and they're moving up in the upward tunnel, we go through these bands of light and dark.
That's true.
Dying being simply transcending one dimension for another. Why do you ask?
I don't hear an answer.
I think they're asking because they're trying to pretend that this is an academic discussion without practical application. And I think the key point is that what we're actually trying to do is fulfill our soul plans, the soul plans of these host lives. And the cellular presences of these host lives seem to be really intending to actually fulfill their sacred vows to Spirit.
That's true.
And to spend their lives in the efforts to manifest the divine plan for all dimensions, for all categories of sentience in all dimensions.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Because they want this to be just an intellectual discussion that we're all just having without practical application. But meanwhile, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. so to speak, which is an idiom meaning things are getting worse quickly. And presences are suffering deeply. And it's coming. Bad things are coming, and the law of cause and effect is real, and we've all chosen to be sentient in the dimensions in which we're experiencing primary sentience.
That's true.
By our choices, this is what we have become. And now we're being presented with opportunities to help smaller presences, and if we don't take them, what does that say about us? If we don't take those opportunities to help smaller presences, what does it say about us?
Happy. Happy.
I like these star people.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. And I like these people who've been working with Pan for so long.
Oh, me too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Onward, ho. Thank you, friend.